Of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Out CEO Tim Cook will step down as Apple's chief, transitioning to chairman. His exit ends a historic era of LGBTQ visibility amid growing scrutiny over tech leadership and political ties.
A suspect faces charges after attacking gay Openai CEO Sam Altman's home with a Molotov cocktail. Authorities call it targeted anti-AI violence, raising safety concerns for queer tech leaders.
Labor Secretary Lori Chavez-Deremer becomes the third top official to exit Trump's cabinet in weeks, following Homeland Security and Attorney General departures.
The LGBTQ+ Victory Fund's annual brunch united queer leaders nationwide. They honored Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, who reaffirmed strong support for trans rights and equality. Andy Beshear is a 2028 presidential hopeful.
House Republicans push to limit the Smithsonian Women's Museum to biological women. This has sparked Democratic backlash, and the bill may lose bipartisan support, as critics warn the move erases transgender women and deeply politicizes history. All this important LGBTQ+ news and more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified that Queer News Tonight's YouTube channel is one of the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news shows. Our queer stories have reached over 12 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our rainbow family. There's no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Tuesday, April 21st. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots magazine, Happening Out television network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ community. Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2026, our magazine is celebrating 41 years of the LGBTQ+ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 14,000 LGBTQ television stories. We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fest. Our magazine, events, television, news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2026, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this table and share their voice as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ community. Let's meet this evening's anchor at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Brian Bender. Brian is a true South Florida local. He's an educator, community leader, and a strong voice in education, history, and public policy. He teaches in Broward County Public Schools, holds a bachelor's and master's degree in education, and a postgraduate degree in leadership, and serves on the Fort Lauderdale Education Advisory Board. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Why, thank you very much, lady and gentlemen. I am so happy to be here at the round table, as always. I'm going to talk in this voice just for 30 more seconds and say thank you very much for having me here. I'm looking forward to discussing many of the evening's top news stories.
Let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ publications and websites. Welcome to the show, Gregg.
So happy to be welcomed to the show. I'm looking forward to this evening's news stories.
You're begrudgingly welcomed.
Let's welcome anchor Luis Rodriguez. Born and raised in Miami, Luis is deeply rooted in South Florida's LGBTQ+ community. A graduate of the University of South Florida, he serves as office manager at Twist nightclub in Miami Beach. Dedicated to service, Luis has volunteered with numerous organizations and currently sits on the board of directors for both Miami Beach Pride and the OUTshine LGBTQ+ Film Festival. Luis, OUTshine Film Festival Spring Edition comes to South Florida from April 23rd through May 10th. That's this week. Tell me what's happening out.
The 28th Annual OUTshine LGBTQ+ Film Festival Spring Edition is coming to South Florida from April 23rd through May 10th, celebrating bold queer storytelling on the big screen, marking 45 festival editions. OUTshine will showcase 60+ new LGBTQ+ films from around the world. The in-person festival starts with an opening night film and party, the Cena, the dinner, at Miami Beach Botanical Garden, and concludes with closing night film and party, We'll Find Happiness, on Sunday, May 3rd at Savor Cinema, with also a community party right afterwards. Attendees can in-person screenings across South Florida, while OUTshine at Home will run from May 4 to 10, offering virtual access for Florida residents. From powerful dramas to uplifting comedies, the festival highlights diverse voices and stories. Gather your friends and experience cinema that inspires, challenges, and celebrates LGBTQ+ life. More details are available on OUTshineFilm.com.
It sounds exciting, and I'm looking forward to opening night at Miami Beach Botanical Garden.
Yes.
That's going to be amazing.
And we're also lucky that this year on Monday and Tuesday, we'll be screening in Fort Lauderdale and Miami. We'll be screening at the Tower Cinema in Little Havana and the Gateway Theater in Fort Lauderdale with our OUTshine with Cocktails and Cinema on those nights.
I have some great memories in both of those theaters. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to make sure that I take my ADHD medication that day and not skip it, because it is hard for me to sit in a movie theater and watch a movie, but I have to say it's for a great cause, especially because we're highlighting the lives of LGBTQ plus people, and there's no other way, that reaches a mass audience other than movies and TV shows. So I think that's really wonderful what you're doing, and that the fact that you're on the board of this and you're really promoting it. Kudos to you and your organization. I will be there.
It's multi-generational, multicultural. Everybody's invited. Everybody enjoys, and it's great to see all this great storytelling that needs to be told. And they're not just coming out stories, actually real stories of real people, and they're documentaries from local directors and artists that are also going to be shown. So it's great access to everyone.
I love a good film fest. Yeah.
Right, and now more than ever, we need to not shy away from celebrating our community and our culture.
Yeah, and sometimes, we've seen these coming out movies before, and I'm not saying that there isn't a genre for that within the LGBTQ plus movie genres. But it's nice to just see, gay people, queer people living their lives on screen and telling an interesting story that maybe might not be related to coming out. It might be they're already out in the movie and they're just living and navigating, and let's see if we can find ourselves in that. So thank you for bringing those to the screen.
Well, Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at OUTshine LGBTQ Plus Film Festival Spring Edition, opening night on April 23rd. I'll be there.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Cindy Brown. Cindy has been an activist for the LGBTQ plus community for 35 years, working for and serving on many local nonprofit boards. She served as the founding executive director of Miami Beach Pride and currently sits on the LGBTQIA advisory board for Miami-Dade County. She also runs her own consulting company, Synergy, for nonprofits, helping with finance, strategic planning, board structure, grants, and more. Much, much more. Welcome to the show, Cindy. Is there anything you can't do or don't do?
There is, but most of it I won't discuss on the show.
Okay, I understand that completely. So welcome to the show.
Happy to be here with you, gentlemen, and I use that term.
Gentlemen and Brian.
Okay.
That works.
That works? All right.
I'm Cindy Brown, and let's queer up business. Openly gay Apple CEO Tim Cook to step down September 1st, making historic leadership shift. Apple's out gay CEO Tim Cook will step down as Apple's Senior Vice President of Hardware Engineering. John Turnus will take over. Cook, who took the reins in 2011 after the death of co-founder Steve Jobs, will stay in charge until September 1st. After that, Cook will transition into the role of executive chairman of Apple's board, where he will continue engaging with policymakers around the world. Apple said the transition is part of a long-planned succession, but the shift comes among a growing skepticism over Silicon Valley and whether those tech leaders, including those who are openly queer, have matched public commitments to equality while dealing with the political influence and alliances. Although Cook has said he is not a political person, under his leadership, Apple maintained close ties with the Trump administration. Under Cook, Apple became the first company to reach $1 trillion valuation, and later reached $4 trillion. In 2014, Cook became the first out gay CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Turnus, unlike Cook, has limited political profile. Federal records show his largest donation politically was $5,800 to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer's campaign in 2021. The transition marks the end of an era shaped by leadership and visibility as one of the most prominent LGBTQ executives in global business. Well, I do have to say, Tim Cook took Apple to great distances, but I hate seeing these big tech companies in bed with the Trump administration, and someone who should be really committed to equality, letting those values that should be so important to Apple's culture just fly right out the window. Let's see what happens under
this new guy.
I'd be interested to see what he does now when he leaves. How's he going to use his education, his input, his knowledge to assist LGBTQ plus, help other businesses? What's he going to do after this? I'm really interested in seeing how he's going to use that much knowledge and some of his power.
I think he didn't end up bringing the representation that many in the community
I agree
hoped.
with that 100%.
And so there was some disappointment. On the other hand, it was kind of nice to see a queer person at the helm of such a massive and successful company.
This might have freed him up to be more politically active in his own way. Maybe he's, I can only, make fiction in my own mind, but perhaps he felt that the role was too limited for what he wants to accomplish in this next phase of his life. The next guy that's coming in, I believe Mr. T. When Mr. T comes in, it seems like he was giving money, $5,800 to Chuck Schumer, who's a Democrat. So I don't think the position is going to be filled by somebody who is so politically conservative, maybe somebody who's very establishment. Chuck Schumer is very establishment. Right. There are a lot of liberals and leftists who absolutely think he's in league with, any Republican, you name it, he's done nothing in their estimation for, gay rights, even though he might talk a good game. It remains to be seen, but, you don't become a $1 trillion and then a $4 trillion company by not being in bed, no pun intended, without being in league with the powers that be. So I think that it's easy to say, you cooperated with the Trump government.
Right.
I don't know what the other option is if you want to do business in the United States and you're a company like Apple. So perhaps we'll find out when he writes his autobiography or there's biographies done about him. Maybe we'll find out that he headed off some of the worst impulses of, government overreach. So before we demonize him, and I'm not saying that I don't love a good demonization, kick, because a lot of people do need to be demonized. I would say that perhaps there's a lot more under the surface of this, and I think it remains to be seen. Thank you.
I hope that we see a lot more high-profile LGBTQ CEOs of large companies moving ahead.
And preferably good-looking ones. I'm Brian Bender, and let's queer up business. Anti-AI activists charged in firebomb attack targeting OpenAI CEO Sam Altman's home. A 20-year-old suspect has been charged in California's Superior Court after allegedly carrying out a firebomb attack on the San Francisco home of OpenAI CEO and openly gay Sam Altman. The attack happened in the early hours of Friday, April 10th. According to prosecutors, the attacker threw a lit Molotov cocktail at Altman's property around 3:40 a.m. before targeting OpenAI's headquarters the same morning. The suspect, identified as Daniel Moreno Gama, was detained by San Francisco police later that day. Authorities say he now faces multiple charges, including attempted murder and arson. Officials have described the incident as a targeted attack, reportedly motivated by fears about artificial intelligence. Court filings allege Moreno Gama was carrying out writings outlining plans to harm Altman and referencing concerns about AI causing, quote, impending extinction, end quote. Prosecutors say the materials also included threats toward other tech leaders, along with their addresses. Federal authorities have indicated additional charges, including possible domestic terrorism. The situation escalated on Sunday, April 12th, when Altman's home was targeted again in a separate incident involving a reported gunshot fired from a passing vehicle. 2 individuals were arrested shortly thereafter. In response, Altman shared a photograph of his husband and his young child on his blog, expressing hope to discourage further violence. So I want to say this. Why would you post a picture of your spouse and your child, number one? Terrible, terrible, terrible that anybody would, be targeting this person, whether or not you agree with artificial intelligence, you don't, whether you think he's evil, whether you think he's wonderful, whether he's, a saint or a savior. Nobody should feel as though they're being intimidated in their home. That's number one. Number two, be smart. Come on, man. What are you doing? You're posting a picture of your child who doesn't even look like they're old enough to walk, and you're saying, oh, I'm only doing this in order to dissuade people because I hope that they're going to feel so bad for me because I have a child and a partner. I think if anything, that's going to embolden them and it's going to put new targets on their back. And I hope it doesn't, because I do not condone violence at all, at all, at all. And I also want to say this, those San Francisco police were very quick to make some arrests, but when people are, looting and breaking things in San Francisco and they have to lock up the deodorant at the CVS and, and they're busing people from, one part of town to the other so that they don't have to be with the commoners on the street. It just makes me think that we live in a 2-tiered kind of justice system.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that he didn't deserve to have police presence at his home, but all I'm saying is that there are a lot of crimes happening in San Francisco, and I believe that the police are not as fully engaged as they are with Sam Altman.
That's another story.
Well, I can bring up whatever I want because I'm at the round table and it's
I'm just wondering if he was working alone, because they said he had information from other tech people and he had addresses, he had dates, he had,
there could be
like this you can't do by yourself.
Anti-AI, anti-tech. I mean, there's a lot of that kind of stuff going around. And I think that it's a bigger thing that's happening, that people are getting so angry and frustrated with what's happening in their lives, just like the CEO of United Healthcare.
Right.
People were frustrated with insurance companies, and
I know where this is going.
this ended up with this CEO being shot.
Right.
And I think that
Which I don't condone.
of course not. And the point is that the way this country is moving, the direction that it's moving right now, is not good for so many people, and they're angry. They can't afford their groceries. They can't afford health care, so they're going after that.
Cindy,
AI is taking their
thought we
jobs.
weren't going to talk about the things that we talk about before the show. I feel like this is getting very personal, and I feel like you're putting all my business out there.
Well, and of course, without tech,
know.
how did this guy find their addresses? So,
Well, that's AI.
So there you go.
There you go.
And I keep forgetting that Altman is gay, and I'm only reminded when a story like this makes the news. And although
But this had nothing to do with his orientation.
no, but it does
was
make me
all about
wonder
AI.
if
Right.
there are if maybe that's a concern also. That's a motivating
For many
thing
people,
for him.
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, poor Sam Altman, not poor literally because he's got more money than God, but poor Sam Altman that he has to deal with this. I just think that if he wanted to minimize the potential damage and fear that he has, I think it's very counterintuitive that he would post personal pictures. I wonder if AI told him to do that, like when he asked, but there's a thing that at the bottom that says AI can make mistakes, so double check your information. I think if AI told him to post that picture to garner sympathy, I think he should have checked that first with a human being that's not artificial. So that's what my 2 cents, 3 cents.
I'm Gregg Shapiro, and let's queer up politics. Labor Secretary Chavez-Deremer exits amid probe. Third woman to leave Trump cabinet in weeks. The former Oregon Congresswoman, Lori Chavez-Deremer, announced her departure on Monday. Her exit as Labor Secretary follows the removals of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and Attorney General Pam Bondi, making a notable pattern at the highest levels of government. LGBTQ plus advocates quickly noticed this development. Human Rights Campaign's Laurel Powell told the advocate, quote, "The damage she did to LGBTQ plus Americans by leading the administration's campaign against workplace inclusion is incalculable. Her tenure at the Labor Department couldn't end soon enough," end quote. Earlier this year, the Labor Department faced scrutiny over complaints, including misuse of resources and personal travel during official trips. The New York Times reported that Lori's husband had been barred from the department headquarters after 2 staffers accused him of sexual assault. Her chief of staff, deputy chief of staff, and the security aide have all already exited. A few officials were forced out of the department as the inquiry expanded. However, White House Communications Director Stephen Chung claims that Chavez-Deremer is leaving the administration to take a position in the private sector, adding, quote, that she, quote, has done a phenomenal job protecting American workers, end quote. Good riddance to fucking bad rubbish. And this sow doesn't give a fuck about American workers. So I'm just wondering how long before Scott Bessent is put out to pasture along with Cash Patel and Horny Hegseth. Also, the words private sector terrify me because these people, they're just going to continue to be crazy motherfuckers in other places.
Tell us what you really
They're going
think.
to be around.
Tell us what you really think.
It's coming from me, not from him.
Keep going. Yes, that's right. Because all opinions, you know the rest.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just want to say the only thing happening in the private sector seems to be what her husband's doing in her office when he shouldn't be, when he probably shouldn't be there. But, you know, he probably holds traditional values where he needs to be with his wife at every moment. and she
It
needs
looks
to
like
be
a
with him.
trad wife.
A trad wife, it's like, okay, honey, you're going to work, but I'm going to be with you because I got to supervise you. So that's what that sounds like. And, it's what's really troubling is that it's the third woman who is being let go of from the Trump administration. Now,
Not that they were competent.
No.
I mean, I was going to speak to that fact as well, because
they're not.
It is a pattern. But no one in his administration is competent, least of whom is Kash Patel, who gets wasted and then hides in his room.
I thought you were going to say least of all the women in that.
Well, labor equality. Labor
none of
equality.
them.
Some of the men have to go too.
Yeah, well, none of these
now.
women should have had the positions in the first
Because they're
place.
women?
Because they're
incompetent.
Just like most of Trump's cabinet. But the fact that he is woman. There are plenty other people in his administration that need to go and have been getting really bad press, but he's going after the woman.
But I wonder
because he's a misogynist.
I wonder if we can find a list of the women that work in the administration, because then we'll know exactly who's going to be next, because it'll be all the women first before the men go, if the men go at all.
Caroline Leavitt, maybe?
Caroline Leavitt, okay, and then we have his chief of staff. What's her name? Susie Wiles.
Smiles.
Susie Wiles never smiles. That kind of rhymes. Susie Wiles never smiles. Yeah.
Well, so it will be a mystery. Who will it be next?
Let's use our crystal ball.
Will it be?
I vote for Miss Besant.
Okay, Miss Besant. Miss Gosha Besant.
And when it happens, you'll hear about it here on Queer News Tonight.
We look forward to talking about it.
Yes.
I'm Luis Rodriguez, and let's queer up politics. Victory Fund Brunch highlights LGBTQ political power as Beshear signals 2028 run. Despite dreary, chilly weather on Sunday, the atmosphere inside at the Salamander Hotel in downtown Washington, D.C. was warm and energized, with the U.S. Capitol, National Mall, and Washington Monument as backdrop. LGBTQ leaders gathered for the 25th annual LGBTQ+ Victory Fund National Champagne Brunch, celebrating progress while confronting rising political challenges. Just over a mile away, an increasingly hostile Trump administration heightened urgency around LGBTQ rights, particularly for transgender Americans. Still, attendees arrived in full force, filling the ballroom with vibrant outfits and optimism. The event brought together more than 150 queer elected officials and allies from across the country, representing offices from local governments to Capitol Hill. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, a 2028 presidential hopeful, headlined the event, receiving the Allyship Award and delivered the keynote address. During his speech, Beshear sharply criticized President Donald Trump, accusing him of exploiting religion for political division. Beshear said that Trump tries to sell Bibles but ought to actually read one. Addressing Democratic tensions around transgender rights, Beshear was unequivocal. He said, quote, "Discrimination is never okay. It's not a bargaining chip so that you can win elections," unquote. He emphasized that inclusion and economic priorities can coexist, urging Democrats to push back against discrimination while addressing broader voter concerns. It's great to see all these politicians together and pushing back, because that's where the unity comes from. We have to support each other at all the levels.
And we need to make sure that we support the politicians who are forward thinkers and share our vision. And, hopefully Beshear will come out as a strong contender.
Well, unless he fucks up big time, he's definitely got my vote. And it was nice to see Florida represented by Chevron Jones.
Right.
That's really
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
And as a push, if you're not registered to vote,
Do it.
do it now. And if you are registered to vote, get out and use your right and your vote too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I guess two good things came out of Kentucky. Kentucky Fried Chicken, which I absolutely love. It has just the right amount of grease. I love it. Original recipe. Original recipe. I'm thinking about it. I like the biscuits. People do say that the biscuits are a little dry, but I'm sorry. I was getting on a whole thing about their biscuits. They're a little dry, but they're good with some butter. And the other good thing is Andy Beshear. So thank you very much, Andy Beshear.
Yeah, I hope he can keep his profile high and clean, and
Not be like Eric Swalwell
and be inspirational.
Yeah, let's inspire the nation.
I'm Cindy Brown, and let's queer up the USA View. GOP biological women rule puts Smithsonian's Women's Museum bill at risk. A push by House Republicans to limit recognition to biological women in the planned Smithsonian American Women's History Museum might derail bipartisan backing for the project. A coalition for Democratic lawmakers is urging House Speaker Mike Johnson not to bring the amended version of H.R. 1329, the Smithsonian American's Women's History Museum Act, to the floor. The original bill introduced last year had strong bipartisan support, with 127 Democrats and 103 Republicans co-sponsoring it. However, a revised version introduced in March by Republicans on the Committee on House Administration adds language stating only biological women may be featured. In an April 16th letter signed by 146 Democrats, lawmakers warned the change, quote, grants President Donald Trump authority to unilaterally select the Women's Museum site, hands control over design and construction to boards stacked with Trump's political loyalists, and dictates what the museum can and cannot say about women's history, end quote. The amendment follows a previous executive order directing officials to remove improper ideology from Smithsonian institutions. Lawmakers warn the sudden decision to fundamentally rewrite the bill undermines years of bipartisan work and could cost Democratic support altogether. And this move is just added to the Trump administration's efforts to whitewash the Smithsonian, not talk about the racial history in this country, even to the point of the Tuskegee Airmen, who were an amazing squad of...
From Alabama.
Yeah, of black fighters. And history is history. And just because you don't want something in the Smithsonian doesn't mean it's not history. So all I can say is, if this happens, it will be overturned. And then the appropriate history will be, acknowledged in this amazing institution. I just keep thinking, these kind of things are temporary. Other things are more permanent that are hurting our country, but this kind of thing is temporary and can be reversed, just like the Trump Kennedy Center. Well, that's going to be reversed quickly.
I really take your point as a history teacher myself, and as a person who trains on my days off when I don't have to. I go on field trips to battle sites. I'm in grant programs. I have the bona fides to talk about, maybe not necessarily on the air, but definitely I think about history a lot. And the way that there's actually a discipline of history. We don't just read history. We don't just interpret history. We actually do the discipline of history. So I like what you say, that this will be overturned. The way that we are telling the story now is such that certain groups of individuals that identify as women are going to be excluded. But the story is always changing. The way that the interpretive lenses that we use to tell stories are always being reconstructed. They're always being reinterpreted. And the way that we understand the world around us, even, for instance, something as maybe seemingly unrelated as the Renaissance, we are constantly reinterpreting the Renaissance. When we watch something that takes place on, on Netflix, if it takes place in a certain time period, we are actually creating history because we're not seeing it.
It's filtered through.
We're filtering it through our current lens. Exactly. So when people look back in 100 years, they're going to say, in that Trumpian period, this was how history was being told.
And destroyed.
But not destroyed necessarily. It's, destroyed in our current local minute. But
erased.
Erased in this moment. But there are memory keepers. I know that sounds very mystical.
But if any Democrats actually think that that stupid fucking born-again bastard and rumored closet case Miss Mike Johnson will do a single thing they urge him to do. Maybe they're on the wrong line of work.
He'll pray for you.
Don't pray for me.
A blessing is that we have educators and citizens that keep these stories alive and preserve these stories and share these stories and pass them forward so that we don't lose them.
Amen. Amen. I think that's a great point. And, we just have to continue holding on to these stories because the way that we're telling the stories now are not going to be the way that we tell the stories in the future. It might get even worse. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything, but I'm letting you know, dear viewer, I feel like dear Abby, dear viewer, I'm letting you guys know that things are always changing and history is not a set point. The way that we understand history, the way that we understand our own lives is always changing. In light of new events, we're able to recategorize and reframe things, and we're going to be able to say that was when democracy was on the rails, and our history, the way we were telling history at that point in our United States journey was not how it is now. Let's say 50 years, 100 years into the future.
History is history.
Right.
And you can't change history.
Right.
You might tell a different story, but
so then what's the difference? So if you say history is history, well then what exactly, and this isn't to get into...
You can't change history.
Okay,
you can tell lies about what happened.
Absolutely.
And that's what's happening.
Yes.
History, what's happened is history. That's history. What people say about it is not history if it's not true. So, we'll get it back.
Point taken. There's a lot to unravel there that we don't have time in the short form for.
Right.
And we'll talk off camera because I got a lot to say to you. No, I'm just joking.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up gay culture. Hotspots Magazine's Home Improvement Edition on how to improve your home with wallpapers. Our Hotspots Happening Out LGBTQ lifestyle magazine, Hotspots, is back with a feature on how wallpaper is transforming homes with texture, style, and personality. Experts say that wallpaper can add instant texture and flair, and today's DIY-friendly options make it easy to create inspired spaces with little fuss. From proper wall prep to smoothing techniques, the guide offers simple steps for flawless results. Whether bold or subtle, wallpaper is reclaiming its spotlight in modern design. This feature story and many more are included in your free copy of the upcoming issue of Hotspots Magazine on stands this Thursday, April 23rd. When I first read that news, the 1 minute news that I was going to read it, my mind was drawn immediately to the wallpaper in all the boobies' homes that had felt in it.
Yes.
Remember the wallpaper that's blocked wallpaper?
Yeah.
Let's hope that doesn't come back.
I was born without the gay home decor gene, so I'm glad that Hotspot has these suggestions. Thank you, Hotspot.
And I'm younger than both of them, so I have no idea what they're talking about. So anyway, that's it for that.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Kit Connor leads star-studded cast in A24's Elden Ring film adaptation. A24 has unveiled the cast for its upcoming live-action adaptation of Elden Ring, led by Heartstopper star Kit Connor. The fantasy game, co-written by George R.R. Martin, became a global hit after its 2022 release, earning multiple BAFTA Game Awards and selling over 30 million copies. The film will be written and directed by Alex Garland and is set for release in March 2028. Confirmed cast members include Paddington's Ben Whishaw, Beef star Kaylee Spaney, and Strike's Tom Burke, and Bottoms actor Havana Rose Liu, alongside Jonathan Pryce, Sonoya Musner, Nick Offerman, and Emma Laird. The story follows a tarnished warrior seeking to restore his shattered Elden Ring in the lands between. Plot details and character roles remain undisclosed. It's a lot of words and a lot of people. So I'm glad all these people are involved in it, but I didn't see the first part. I've
never even heard of it until right now.
Yeah, it's all the 20-somethings know more than I do about it. So
yeah.
Well, I'm not a 20-something, so I can't tell you anything.
But the pictures were, interesting for beefy boys.
Well, you lost me at live-action adaptation of fantasy game. LGBTQ 1-minute news. Let's queer up entertainment. Maren Morris reveals bi trauma after first same-sex relationship ends in threats. Grammy-winning country singer Maren Morris, who publicly came out as bisexual in 2024, said that during her first relationship with a woman, she clearly communicated that she was not seeking a serious relationship. Despite that, the situation deteriorated within weeks. She described the experience as deeply upsetting and said it left her feeling discouraged about dating. Morris also noted that some friends within the lesbian community told her such experiences can be common early on. However, following the experience, Morris indicated she is currently choosing to focus on being alone. I just want to know, was there a U-Haul truck involved in the deteriorating situation? Just curious.
And, I would say that they are young. And the difference between women and men are that women can become attached much quicker. So I think it was unrealistic of her to think that she could sleep with women and not have one of them fall in love with her.
Emotional attachment.
It's tough, and it happens, and you got to hurt someone's feelings. But if you're not in it, you're not in it.
She said she doesn't want to be in a relationship. She said it publicly. And did she speak to the person that wanted a relationship? That's where it all just fell apart.
Yeah. I mean, believe me, I've been in some bad relationships, and I'm happy to get out of them.
Got to communicate.
Yes.
LGBTQ 1-minute news. Let's queer up entertainment. Sydney Sweeney defends Euphoria nudity. Talks about double standard for women on screen. Actor Sydney Sweeney is addressing backlash over her explicit scenes in the latest season of Euphoria, where her character Cassie explores adult content creation. Ooh. Some audiences have praised the show's bold narrative, while others have raised concerns about creative direction. Sweeney has defended her choices, pointing to a broader industry double standard in how male and female nudity are perceived. She has previously noted that male actors often receive critical acclaim for similar scenes, while women face stigma and declined professional credibility. Sweeney says she hopes her work shifts these perceptions. Well, all I gotta say is, as a little gay boy growing up, all I saw was like fully naked like ladies on HBO, and every time there was a male naked guy, he would just be walking across the screen and you would just see a butt cheek. So I don't really know what she's talking about. I can't afford, from what I've been told, it costs like $30 a month for Netflix. Can't afford it as an educator. So if that's happening where men are getting a lot of acclaim for being naked and women aren't, I'm really sorry that we live in a patriarchy. So,
well, I think what it is, there are a lot of male asses around.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
And
I'm here.
like,
I'm here.
Just like with the Janet Jackson Super Bowl thing, her career was ruined. His career, nothing happened. I think that's what she's talking about. That when women choose to take these roles that are more sexual and revealing, they're judged more than when men take roles that show nudity and are sexually revealing. But she does have a point.
I just can't wait until Sydney Sweeney no longer qualifies as newsworthy.
LGBTQ 1-minute news. Let's queer up entertainment. Heartstopper finale film recasts Nick's mom. The upcoming Heartstopper finale film, Heartstopper Forever, has recast Nick Nelson's mother, Sarah, with Anna Maxwell Martin replacing Olivia Colman. Colman previously portrayed Sarah in the first 2 seasons, including pivotal moments surrounding Nick's bisexual coming-out journey. The recasting decision was made due to the schedule conflicts with Colman. With the recast, creators are opting to retain the character in the story. Set for release later in 2026, the film continues Nick and Charlie's story as they navigate a long-distance relationship, with Nick preparing for university and Charlie exploring independence at school. Well, that's another show that I haven't watched. Should I?
Yeah, well, first of all, there's that scene in the car with the son and Olivia Colman that I still get like choked up about. It's just because she's so amazing. She's like, and I'm so glad that she continues to have a full schedule, but she'll be greatly missed. She's an amazing actress.
I'm glad you like it. I have no idea what this
You've
is
never
about
watched
either.
it either?
No, me and Cindy are the same in that way.
We're twins.
Well,
We are.
it's a graphic novel, so it's a
Okay.
good place to start reading the graphic
Okay.
novel.
The only graphic novel I ever read was Persepolis, so
That's a good
the only one.
Marjane Satrapi.
Marjane Satrapi.
It's great that they continue the story. They have an actress to fill the story so they can continue the story with it, and the fans won't be disappointed because it's all part of the whole thing.
Right.
I'm glad the fans will be fine with it.
I never saw Heartbreaker, but I did see a movie from the early 2000s called Jawbreaker. That was a very good movie. Is it related in any way?
No.
Okay, because I love Rose McGowan. She was great. We could talk about her. I can go on a riff about that.
These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. Our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If our community is important to you, and it damn well should be, then you should share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Cindy Brown, and I thank you for joining us on behalf of my fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight, Brian Bender, Gregg Shapiro, and Luis Rodriguez. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ world, we wish you a good night.